Hey everybody, and welcome back to Let's Be Saints Awakened. I'm Cecilia Watson, and I'm here with Andrew Birkin. Today we have a very special guest with us, and I'm going to let Andrew introduce her.
Thank you, Cecilia. So today we have a freshman from McNeese, which I believe is the first freshman we've had on the podcast.
This season or in general?
In general.
Oh, wow.
Aubrey Smart. So Aubrey, if you would go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yes, well, as he said, I'm Aubrey Smart. I'm a freshman at McNeese, and I'm in nursing, and then I'm from Lake Charles.
Nice.
Awesome. So today we are going to be talking about anxiety. We have not had a full episode on it, although it has been touched on in several episodes.
Mm-hmm.
The first being with the Johnson brothers way back in the beginning of the show.
Way back in time.
And then more recently, the episode we did in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a lot to say on it. I know Aubrey has a lot to say on it. So we can start with the questions that I had sent you.
Yes, of course.
Okay. How does first we'll start with, what is anxiety?
Anxiety for me is, I struggle a lot with different things, and overthinking and those mixed together, that's not a good mix, is having things to stress about and then overthinking everything.
Mm-hmm.
For me, causes a lot of anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
People react differently. Like, you're not going to see anxiety the same in everybody.
Yeah.
So there's and I kind of looked it up too. There's different signs. You can see there's emotional and there's also behavioral. So for me, I find mine are more behavioral. So emotional signs would be excessive worry and irritability, and there's avoidance, procrastination. Me, procrastination is a big one. And then it said social withdrawal. I find myself procrastinating with everything. Schoolwork, being asked to do something even around the house that I don't do, and it makes me anxious. I definitely procrastinate a lot. Also, difficulty concentrating, and then I know for me is overthinking. I overthink everything, and I know, especially in college, it's really easy to overthink everything. You're changing from those teenage years to becoming an adult. So you start to worry and overthink about, well, what if this degree isn't the one for me? What if I'm never going to find my husband? Or things like that. So it definitely shows up differently in a lot of people. And those, I feel are the more noticeable ones. And even some of those aren't the most obvious ones.
Mm-hmm.
But that's definitely...
Did you write or look into anything for the emotional side effects?
I did, kind of. There's the excessive worry, irritability, and then a big one that I know I face is fear of failure or rejection. I face that a lot, and it also ties in with the overthinking. I overthink every encounter I have with people, which causes me to, I see one little sign that may be off or that I find odd or off. I start to think wow, they don't like me, or they think I'm weird, or they, they have a problem with me or something, which causes a lot of, as it says in the behavioral changes, avoidance. Then I start to maybe try not to interact with these people as much because I feel that, like I said, they don't like me. They don't want to be around me. They don't want to be my friend. All those types of things. And then about worry, I worry about everything. I worry that I may not be doing things right or the way other people want me to do them, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So those are just...
She's got a lot to say on that.
I swear, you saying these things, I was just checking them all off in my own head, where I was like, yeah. And I was waiting for any moment for Andrew to be like, sounds like someone I know. But one of the... he's nodding his head. one of the biggest things for me is, and it's funny because I can tell you the exact cycle that I go in for everything. And it's, oh my gosh, I have so much to do. I have no time to do any of it all, and it makes me anxious. And then I'm like, okay, well that's going to make me anxious. I have to go do something else. I can't worry about that right now. And then I wait, and then I procrastinate. And then I start freaking out because now I really have no time to do it all. And then I'm like, oh my gosh. And usually in that first step is usually when I also go, I have too much to do and I'm just going to fail because I don't have enough time to do any of it. I'm going to mess up and do all of it wrong. And so then it moves to, oh my gosh, now I really have no time because I actually did. Yeah. And then I end up doing it and I'm panicking the entire time, or it doesn't get done. And then I actually did fail because it didn't get done. And then I'm like, well, yes, it's because you're a failure and you did this. Yeah, no, that actually, yeah, no. It's very, a very tricky little cycle.
It is. I actually have a good example of that. I had to take English classes last year, and I hate English. So I already am like, oh, this essay I have to write, it is not going to be good. And then it's like, oh, I'm getting anxious because I kind of don't know what I'm going to write about, and it's probably not going to be good. And then I procrastinate, and then I do it the day before, 5 hours before it's due, and it's like, oh no, like, what am I going to do?
Mm-hmm.
I start panicking. Yes, unnecessary anxiety and stress, but I guess that's English for you.
Yeah.
That's college for you.
Yeah.
No. And I also was going to say another thing is that, especially coming from high school, or at least I found at St. Louis, where everything was so structured, and also St. Louis is significantly smaller than Barb, so maybe you'll disagree with me. But because I could have more of a relationship with my teachers and they could tell me exactly what I needed to do. But now being in college, like when I first started, and my teachers were like, yeah, here you go. And like we're so broad and vague with it, I felt like it was so much easier for me to be like, but wait, I don't know what I'm doing, and like I need you to sit down and tell me exactly what I need to do, and like I don't know. Like I feel like even like just the academic part of it, on top of the what do I want to do with my life? Why are they telling me to figure this out at 17? Also, like, am I going to make the right friends? Am I going to make the right decisions? Am I going to meet my future husband? Like all of those things. And then on top of it, you have teachers who have 7 different classes and don't even know your name and are just giving you assignments with hardly any instruction. So yeah, no. College is like, if you have anxiety, college is just like, you go, here's your supply.
And what doesn't help with anxiety is also like being more introverted and being scared to like ask for help and all that stuff. So then that really just piles on, and especially in college. Whenever you email a teacher and it's like, well, what class are you even in? Like, I don't even know who you are. Like,
yeah. No, and one thing I've noticed, most teachers don't even take roll. Like they won't like call out your name and ask you to respond. They just like will pass a piece of paper around. It's like they don't even want to get to know you. But anyways,
Really?
Yeah.
In my time at Suella, that was always every class.
Really?
Maybe,
well, good for Suella.
Maybe McNeese is just.
It is.
Not,
it's different. My biology class has like 60 kids in it. So
right.
It's like you can't really.
That's a lot of people.
That's fair.
And then like having 7 classes.
That is a good point too.
Yeah.
Suella's,
well, good on Suella though, honestly.
Yeah. I was gonna say, not just introverted people have a hard time asking for help, but I think that a lot of men do as well because of their pride, and some prideful extroverts too. Maybe they think they don't need the help, and so then they don't ever reach out for it, and then everything comes crumbling down. 63% of all college students suffer with severe anxiety. So
yeah, and that will probably
tragic.
Yeah, that will probably only get worse as time goes on too, because we don't know how to help ourselves,
right?
Or at least not in the right way.
Social anxiety affects 15 million Americans.
Cool.
I definitely have social anxiety. That's
What's
why
social anxiety?
social anxiety is whenever, for me,
Yes.
I, in a public place or even in class, I feel like class is such a good example.
Yeah.
It's like, do you have any questions? And I do have questions, but I'm also in a class with 59 other people. And it's like, well, what if they judge me for what I said? Like, is it a stupid question? Like, or even going out to the mall and seeing people I know. That is, I feel like, the scariest thing ever is going to the mall
Black
and
Friday
see.
was scary.
I did not leave this man's side.
It's Black Friday is scary. But even, I know for me, I even get anxious having to call the doctor to make an appointment. Like, I'm like, or I tell my grandma, I'm like, what do I say? I don't know what to say. Or I look, honestly, I think I did do this. I asked ChatGPT what to say to
Real?
schedule an appointment. It's crazy. Like, I get so anxious having to talk to people because it's like, what if they think I'm stupid for asking or not knowing what to say or all those things. But Barb definitely did not help with my social anxiety.
It's a lot of people.
Because, yes. And then you have those different groups. Like, you have the popular people
Oh yeah.
and the weird people. Not saying that they're weird, but you know, they were perceived as weird.
Yeah, the nerds.
And yeah, and then there's also like the nobodies. You know, like people really didn't know you.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually fit into that category. Like, not many people knew me, but like I knew other people. So it's like going to football games was very nerve-wracking for me because then I had to go and socialize with these people who like probably didn't even know who I was. So it was really honestly scary to go out and try and have fun with people who I feel like didn't know me and maybe didn't even like me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's really, so that's like the peak of my social anxiety. And it's helped.
Yeah.
College has helped a lot because there you don't have those popular people and like nobodies. Everybody is nice to everybody no matter what.
Right.
Like,
and everybody's doing their own thing.
Yes. Like, I have come in contact with people that were maybe a popular kid at Barb or another school who probably, if we had met in high school, we wouldn't even be friends, but we're like really good friends now.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we talk all the time, we text all the time and all those great things. And even like people in class, I have classes with people who went to Barb with me. And it's like we help each other with schoolwork and whatnot. So college has definitely helped with my social anxiety and really helped me kind of break out of that bubble. 'Cause, you know, I find that people in college are way less judgy than people in high school.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing.
I'm sure.
Yeah. It's not as cool to be judgy in college as it is in high school, if that makes sense.
It does.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't go to a real high school.
Yeah, but I'm sure in your friend groups.
Oh, man, I was always frowned upon.
I don't want to say like in dance, but like.
Well, yeah. I mean, I was not particularly the favorite. So my social anxiety really stemmed from the insecurity I had that I was very interested in dance and that I was taking dance classes, right? And so all of the friends and even my brother were fine. I love him, but you know, it was hard a lot of times to go and interact with those people for fear of judgment. You know, and maybe they would say something, and oftentimes they would, but it was more often that they didn't. I couldn't see that because I wasn't in the right headspace. I was, I feel like anxiety in my case, at least, is so selfish because like everything revolves around me and I'm going to go and sit on the carpool ride with these guys for an hour to go to class and they're all going to be judging me the whole time and I'm never going to catch a break. And that just wasn't the case most of the time. And I really would, I would just shut down. It didn't help my high school experience much, you know, or my social life after that really. I felt very comfortable with the people that I danced with. But anybody outside of that realm, that part of my life, was very difficult for me to like form a relationship with, even though they were trying, and the occasional joke or whatever would slip. I was not allowing that. I would just constantly shut down.
And I feel like kind of what you said about how they would joke, or it would be a normal conversation and stuff more than they would joke about dance. And I find that plays a big part in like your mindset too, especially me, because I overthink. So I dwell more on the jokes they make that I like about my insecurities or whatnot than the other great times that we have. Which does really mess everything up. Because I've definitely experienced that. They say one thing and it's like, well, why would you say that? And I dwell on that and I think about that a lot, more than the rest of the conversation we had.
Right.
Yeah. Also, it's like scientifically, and I don't want to like dog on the women, but we literally were talking about this in the women's episode.
Oh.
Is that like scientifically, women like there's a hormone in our body and the way that our brain is wired that we naturally hold on to grudges, which is not good. And I don't know why we're wired like that necessarily. I think it's a memory thing. Like it's just what we remember. So it gives the men kind of a hard time when they're like, why are you mad at me still? But also it also works like as a con for anxiety too, because now we have this memory that keeps replaying in our head of someone saying this one thing. Never mind the fact that we had another hour and a half of great conversation over coffee, and it was a great time, and we planned it again for next week. I'm still going to remember that one joke you said, and I'm going to replay it in my head so many times. So, and I don't know why. I need to look more into like why women are wired like that. Maybe take it up with God, since like he like created us, but I don't know. It is interesting. But once I learned that, I remember being like trying to be more intentional about it, of like, wait, I'm totally holding this against someone and they have no idea, which is totally unfair. Like to myself and to that person, because I'm making myself miserable and I'm starting to despise this other person for no reason. and they have no idea. They have no idea that I'm starting to resent them slowly because of my own idea that I've created in my head. So I just thought that would be, because once I learned that about women, I was like, oh my gosh.
It's very interesting and it makes a lot of sense.
Doesn't it though?
Not to me. For guys, it's like even my friends in high school who maybe made jokes or whatever, like I'm still best friends with them today. I'm particularly close with one of them. And even my brother, I mean, we have a great, thriving relationship. So, I don't know, like I've gotten into fights or little tiffs with some dudes and then it's just like 30 minutes later.
Yeah,
like,
but girls don't
was
do
there
that.
something that was the matter? So it's very easy. And a lot of times with Cecilia too, like she does something wrong or maybe she messes up with something simple and I get upset about it. I've told her several times, like, just give me 30 minutes and then I'll be fine, And that's exactly what happens every time. Like 30 minutes later, I forget what even the issue was. It's so unimportant in the grand scheme of our relationship.
Yes.
Like, why would I let one little fight or argument determine how the rest of our relationship should be molded?
Yeah.
Which does bring me to the next point. There should come a time, I believe personally, that if something is constantly bringing you anxiety, so Cecilia constantly brings me anxiety, there comes a time where if it's not getting resolved, it has to be removed,
Mm-hmm.
because it's not worth your mental health. It's not worth your soul and your mind, and anxiety will start to affect your prayer life and how you treat other people, people who don't deserve that. So even though Cecilia may cause me anxiety 12 times a day, it's always resolved in the end. Like, we know how to communicate and how to, make amends.
Mm-hmm.
But that hasn't always been the case. I've been with some people, or I've had some people in my life who maybe didn't know how to communicate that and didn't know how to resolve that. And so I had to learn, okay, this thing, it's bad for me. I have to remove it.
Mm-hmm.
And that has helped me tremendously in my battle against anxiety. Is, I will fight for Cecilia, and I will fight with Cecilia to make things right. But the second she stops fighting back for me and with me, then it's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
And she knows that, and we go our separate ways. Obviously, that's not going to happen. But in some more common scenarios, it does.
Yeah. And I would also say, like, even the point of sorry, of removing yourself from something that is making you consistently anxious. If you're in that state ever in your life, whether it's been in the past and maybe you find yourself, or you will find yourself in a similar situation, it should be prayerful, because it's not going to be necessarily fun or easy. And one thing that kind of differentiates is, like, yes, I might do things that make Andrew really anxious. And there are things that Andrew does that make me incredibly anxious. But at the end of the day, there's always going to be peace. Like, and that's how you know that we can work through it, is because I know for a fact that, yes, I made him anxious, and yes, he might say, I need 30 minutes. I know after those 30 minutes, there's going to be peace, and there won't be anxiety. Or if I'm having anxiety about something and I talk to him about it, I know that after that, because we're different, he needs to be alone and I need him when I'm anxious. But I know after that conversation, there'll be peace. And that's how you know that it's an anxiety that you can work through. And when it comes to, like, removing yourself from an anxious situation or scenario that has just been consistent, and you have prayerfully discerned that you need to remove yourself from it, then, like, everything about that process needs to be prayer. Because ultimately, anxiety is tied to fear. And like we talked about in our episode, is that fear is not of God. God did not make us to be fearful creatures. Fear of the Lord is different. That means respect. But he did not make us to be fearful creatures. He made us to be joyful creatures. As a result of original sin, we feel sorrow and fear. But we weren't made for that. And so we know that that is not of God. And so when you invite prayer into those situations of anxiety, and especially removing yourself from a situation of anxiety, you have to constantly be asking God for his help and his protection and his guidance, because he's the one who can penetrate your mind he's the only one who can penetrate your mind over Satan. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Did that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. But, like, and so one of the first things I do when I wake up every morning is to say, Lord, get into my head before I can. like breathe life into my soul and speak. Like, I always try to read scripture in the morning too, because the first thing I want to do is I want to fill my head with things that are of him before I go in the mirror and I look at myself and I get anxious about, oh my gosh, I have a new pimple. Oh my gosh, my hair isn't working. Or, like, the silly, stupid little things like that might cause me anxiety, or that I might be thinking about for the rest of the day, before I even get onto the other things that bring me anxiety.
Yes.
But so, yeah, everything, one of the best ways to combat anxiety, and I'm sure you've heard this and it might seem silly, but it's just prayer, because anxiety is not of God.
Yes, definitely. I find that when I am dealing with my anxiety about different things, that it's a good reminder to just like stop and give it to God.
Yeah.
I'm still kind of struggling with anxiety because I'm in college now.
Yeah.
College causes a lot of anxiety. And I was talking to someone about it, and they had recommended for me to pray the Litany of Trust and Surrender Novena, which were both really great and both helped me a lot. And I do, like you kind of said, just continue to pray throughout or for whatever is giving you anxiety, so that if it really is an issue, like it's removed and you're removed from the situation. For me, my anxiety, actually I have not been anxious like all my life. It really started in my freshman year of high school when both of my parents left. And then me and my sister moved in with our grandparents. And I felt really anxious because I had the weight of taking care of my sister on my shoulders. I took that place of the parent because both of ours had left. So that was a really hard time. And I have now realized after 4 years that the reason why I'm so anxious all the time is and like overthinking every interaction I have with people is because fear of, I'm afraid that they're judging me, but also of abandonment.
Yeah.
Because me and my sister went through that. And I didn't have the best group of friends going through high school. Like, I'm honestly not really friends with many of them anymore. So I'm very scared of abandonment and people not caring for me like my parents did. And that's another one, is like, I have a hard time realizing during college and this great community here in Cowboy Catholics, is that people really do care for me. And they do want me to, I don't know how else to put it, like, be okay. Because anxiety takes a big toll on you mentally. Like, I've honestly seen it in myself just this past semester. And I've luckily found a great group of people that I can trust and rely on, that if I'm ever feeling any type of way, that I can go and I talk to them and they can help me, like, get that off my chest. And then even just, like you said, like, that prayer really does help. And I've, through prayer, been able to figure out the root of my anxiety is that fear of abandonment.
Yeah.
And then that is the majority of my anxiety. Then also just school and everything piling on top really did take a toll on me mentally. It still does, to be completely honest with you. And it's really hard, but like, praying about it all the time has definitely helped. My anxiety levels have gone down significantly this semester. Just learning to build that prayer life and having a consistent prayer life really, really does help.
Yeah.
And then I'm so grateful to my grandparents, because before we had moved in with them, we actually were not going to church anymore. And they actually brought us back to the faith, which was honestly a key point in my life that really helped build that really good relationship with God, and which has definitely helped me a lot. So I am really grateful for them. And that honestly, but that was a really rough time, and it's definitely something I'm still trying to deal with. And
absolutely.
But like I said, prayer does really, really help, and I'm still continuing to pray and do the things I need to do in order to overcome this fear, because like you said, original sin has caused us to feel this fear, and we shouldn't be fearful people.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely learning from that. But yes, and I find that community and having a great community and support system definitely helps with what you're feeling.
Yeah.
I came into Newman feeling that exact same way. I was depressed. I had anxiety through the roof. And I didn't want to make friends. I was very isolating towards myself. I just didn't want. But the second I walked in through those doors, I felt a burden lift off of me, and just the amount of people who came up to me and introduced themselves and made it obvious that they wanted something to do with my life, and they wanted to know who I was just so incredible. So a good community is always a great thing, and you should never be ashamed to ask the people in your community for help. Like there are people here who come to me when they are feeling low or when they feel like they need motivation or they can't do anything, and I have that same what's the word?
I don't know.
The same like availability.
Yeah.
I'm able to reach out to them. In the same way if I need a guy instead of Cecilia kind of thing, and she'll say the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
She needs a girlfriend instead of an Andrew. How many times, this is a pop quiz.
Oh.
How many times is anxiety mentioned in the Bible? Go.
Oh, I have no idea.
Take a guess.
I want to say it's a lot. I'm gonna.
Well, is it used as a different term?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Because if we're talking, if it's used as fear, then at least 365 times.
You?
I was going to say, if it's the word anxious or anxiety.
Same thing, fear. Same thing.
Okay. 200. Maybe even 400.
So Cecilia was right. I think she cheated. I think she already knew the answer.
Yeah.
365.
That's
How many days are in a year?
365.
365.
Unless it's a leap year.
So, okay, all right. Well, we don't count.
They're scams.
So you have access in your prayer life, when you're feeling anxious, you have access to the Bible for each day, a new passage or a new verse on fear and anxiety and how to deal with it, mm-hmm. and what it means each day. So you don't have to keep reading the same one that's not helping you. You have one for each day, except if it's a leap year, then, you're screwed, I guess. I don't know what to say.
You have one day to excuse yourself of being anxious.
Right? It's a leap year. You've got no reason to be anxious.
No, but because I was my favorite Bible verse is about anxiety. And so I didn't know if he was talking about wait, are we using the term anxiety or fear?
Oh, it depends on the translation of the Bible.
Yeah, but my favorite verse, which Andrew and I have now, will take turns telling it to each other. If mostly him telling it to me if I'm anxious about something. The verse Philippians 4.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Bruh. I will say it's have no anxieties about anything, but in all things by prayer and petition, make your requests made known to God, and He will grant you peace.
I knew that.
Yeah.
I knew that. There is another one that I really like, which is don't be anxious for tomorrow will be anxious for itself.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure. I think that also comes from Philippians, but I don't know. Maybe it's Romans. We like Romans here.
Yeah, we do. But Philippians is cool too. Lots of cool stuff. But yeah. I know at one point, in different seasons of things, at one point, I remember telling Andrew that a couple of times a week, and I'm pretty sure he's told me that a lot of times. But it's okay. But yeah.
I'm kidding. So there are, like Aubrey mentioned, several different kinds of anxiety, and I don't want to not mention any of them. So the list I have is like a generalized anxiety, which is just constant worrying. Social anxiety, which we talked about. Health anxiety, which is obsessing over physical symptoms. You girls would know more about that than me. So it kind of mentioned something about waking up and looking in the mirror and freaking out over a pimple that you're just going to cover up with a, concealer and blush or whatever.
Oh my gosh, he knows them.
He's trained. He's got 4 sisters.
Oh.
And he did dance.
Stop. No. All right. Physical.
Sorry.
Health anxiety. Talk about it. Go.
Oh.
What to do when you think you're fat and you're not.
Oh my gosh. I was going to say, can you tell he spends too much time with me? But, oh man. That is a fine line between anxiety and vanity, I feel like. Because there's a general, I feel like the line of vanity is that how I appear to someone else. Like, how do I look in someone else's eyes kind of thing. And you'll hear a lot of girls be like, well, I don't dress for anybody else's attention. Like, I dress like for myself. A lot of times I feel like that's not true, especially when they're like going out kind of thing. And you're like, I don't. But I would say, like, I have health issues that will like make a lot of determining factors in my future. And that gives me a lot of anxiety. So I would say that, like, and that's not necessarily a vain thing, because I'm not like, oh, well, this is going to determine how people look at me. It's very much oh my gosh, well, if I don't fix this, then it could lead to this, and it could affect me in this, and that could really change my life and Andrew's life and our lives. And what if, like, that kind of thing. So, but when it comes to that, like any form of anxiety is also, you have to look at it in the face and say, I have the opportunity to trust God or to just worry myself to death in this situation. And so in those cases, especially when there's not a whole lot you can do, like where I'm at right now is just kind of like, okay, we're just going to wait and see, what happens, where it's like, it's just a beautiful invitation from Christ to say, like, I have no idea what's coming next. And that's okay, because I know that, like, Christ has offered me his hand, and I'm going to try my best to take it and to just let him lead us and me through all of it. So, like, with any form of anxiety, health anxiety especially, has a lot to do with, it's going to test your trust and your faith a lot. Like a lot of things will, but I think in every form of anxiety that is offered, there's also a beautiful, unique, intimate invitation from Christ to walk with him in something specific to combat that. And Christ never gives someone a cross for no reason. Like, there's always, like, he's always preparing you for something better, whether it's just a cross that you have to carry here on earth so your reward will be great in heaven, which he does say that that's true. Like, the crosses that you carry here on earth will make up for your time in heaven, will be worth it for your time in heaven. But I feel like a lot of times there are things in my life where I've been through these certain things and I was like, man, why did I do that? And then I was given another situation later in life where I was like, oh my gosh, like, if I wouldn't have been through that and I wouldn't know the things I know now, I would be totally different and I wouldn't have known how to handle this. So I think that with any kind of anxiety, there's just a really beautiful invitation to walk in some sort of virtue or some sort of prayer that is just offered by Christ, that he wants to make something good out of this, because he knows that the anxiety that we face is not his work, it's not his doing, but he wants to show us that he can bring goodness out of it too, like he can with all things. So I've yapped a lot this episode. I'm sorry, guys.
It's fine. Did you have anything to add?
See, I don't think I've ever dealt with health anxiety.
Great.
Yeah, slay.
I've been anxious about other things.
Yeah, true.
Anxious about life.
The last one on my list was panic disorder. Do you ever have panic attacks?
I do not. I don't.
That is some scary stuff.
Mm-hmm.
She's seen me in an episode before, and it's not fun. We can get into that a little later. Some common causes of anxiety. The number one cause is past trauma. The number two is genetics. I unfortunately have both, so that's slay-tastic.
I definitely have the trauma portion. I'm not sure about it being genetic. Actually, I think it is, because my grandma is anxious about everything all the time. So it's probably both for me as well.
Yeah.
Stressful environments or major changes in your life, lack of sleep, too much caffeine will cause you anxiety.
Well,
Audrey, what do you have to Audrey?
That's crazy. I don't know an Audrey.
I don't either.
wow.
What?
What do I have to say about caffeine? This is going to be very interesting. What's today? Thursday. 2 days ago, I had a test I had an exam at 8 a.m. So I had a energy drink with 200 milliliters of caffeine in it, and also a coffee from the Buzz. Medium-sized coffee from the Buzz.
Come on, Audrey.
I actually am so sorry. I don't know an Audrey. Where the heck? I don't know. Maybe I'm dyslexic.
And how did that make you feel, all of that caffeine?
Very hyper. And also, honestly, a little anxious.
Yeah. I wonder why.
Social media overload also, causes a lot of anxiety. Can anyone tell me why that is? I cannot stand social media for this exact reason.
You know how there's always like that old man. For me, it's both my parents, but there's always like, it's them dang phones. Andrew like embodies that statement. And it's a good thing because it's true.
It's the phones
true.
or it's not enough exercise.
Yeah.
I definitely heard that.
I think a great mixture of both is very common.
Mm-hmm.
I think people are, I'm not going to say that on this platform, never mind, but I think people just rely too much on the phones and they don't get outside and they don't, I was surprised a little bit when you said like you have classmates who you interact with, because I don't hear that very often.
Mm-mm.
I hear and I see people go to class, and even in the middle of class, if they're not paying attention, they're on their phones, and then walking around campus, it's just everything is on the device. And that's where anxiety comes from, in my opinion, for a lot of, 15 million Americans. I think the vast majority are all on social media and all these platforms, and they're viewing things that are very unrealistic, and they can't have that. They can't grab it. They're not living the lifestyle that these celebrities are living, or even their other friends who are only posting the good things that they do in their life, or, the fun things, exciting things. They're not showing you, you're not going to post yourself on Instagram with just a whole slide of you crying and you're depressed and yada yada. You're going to post yourself at like the Riley Green concert, or whatever. It was just something that was recent.
At like the peak moments.
Yeah.
In your life.
Right. And that's not a fault of anyone in particular. It's not. I'm not saying people who only post the high moments are bad people or they're doing something wrong necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
But for us who, or the people that view that kind of thing, we feel like we're not getting that same satisfaction as them. So that brings us lower. And we just do that to ourselves. And that's through the devil, obviously,
Yeah.
Thoughts?
If you're looking at something and you're like, well, how come I'm so anxious all the time and this person looks like they're living it up? Like, that's just totally not fair. It's probably not true, but that's what you see. Yeah. That, and also I think one thing that really helped me with my social anxiety, especially in classes, well, first I had to realize that if I wasn't going to ask a question that I needed to know in class, I wasn't going to do well. And so I started being like, YOLO, I'm just going to ask it anyways. And, oh my gosh, in my math class, I asked a question a couple of weeks ago. I was like, how did you get 10 there? And literally the entire class turned around and like looked at me and I was like, oh, so I'm an idiot. Okay, cool. Like the answer was obvious and I didn't get it. And now they're all looking at me like I'm stupid. But, it really was like she explained it and it actually was like kind of complex, but it was just that everyone turned around and looked at me. But one thing that really combated kind of like my social anxiety in the classroom setting was I would sit down and I'd be like, okay, Lily, everyone's on their phone and I don't know what to do, but you have to make connections in class. It just will make the class so much easier for you. And so people love to talk about themselves. You just are like, oh my gosh, especially if it's a girl. Then you're like, oh my gosh, I love your shoes. I'm like, thanks. Okay, well, where'd you get them from? You have to ask them about themselves. And,
I definitely actually saw that happen in my class Tuesday.
Yeah.
My friend saw this girl's boots and she was like, oh my gosh, like she was already talking kind of to somebody and then it stopped. And like you said, it was before class, everybody's kind of on their phones not talking.
Yeah.
She saw her boots and she was like, oh my gosh, your boots are so cute. And then she gave us the story that she got from Missouri and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And like the conversation just kept going on until class had started. So yes, definitely I feel like making those connections in class really does help. There's actually a girl in one of my classes who made a group me, emailed everybody in the class, and was like, join the group me. And then I know from that group me, they've met, like, I've met with some people from one of my biology classes in person, and we've like studied together and like helped each other out. Like making those connections are really important because while I was there studying with those people, for this test I was anxious for, we kind of got to help each other out,
right,
and relieve some of that stress and anxiety.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like I could have been by myself, really anxious. Like I really don't know what this is. I have nobody to ask questions about this too. So definitely those connections are really, really, really important.
Yeah, I befriended a girl in my math class. And it's been so nice. Like we exchanged numbers. And so now I know if for some reason I have to miss class that day, I can text her and be like, hey, what did we do? And she's like, this is what we did. We covered these notes. I'll send them to you. And I know I can be caught up, which will relieve a ton of my anxiety because I don't have to worry about, oh my gosh, I'm behind because I wasn't there and I don't know what we did. Now I know what we did and I can stay caught up and study them at home and be prepared for class. So, yeah.
And kind of going back to social media while also staying on this topic, my English class, I don't like English. I've already established this. Essays are not for me, but this one is different. The whole class is you talking to people.
Yeah.
You read a story before you come to class. You have your own little group and you talk in the group and then you talk as a class.
Yeah.
So that definitely did help me kind of, we have like a little group of, it's like me and 3 other girls. We used Snapchat actually to have like a group chat to like send pictures of what the questions are and talk about like what we did if we're not there,
Mm-hmm.
So that's really nice if you use social media the right way.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yes. It's a good way to interact with people. And kind of you were saying about seeing the peak moments of people's lives. Another reason I feel like I get anxiety from social media is because of all the like world, I guess, I don't know how to put it, but like worldly things you see that are happening like around the world, all those negative things that are
The
happening.
news.
Yeah. Yes, the news.
Well, yeah.
But also just like, I find that like, I will admit, I do this. I scroll on Instagram Reels. Sometimes it's really addicting sometimes. And I admit that, and I admit it's an issue. But you'll just be scrolling, and then you'll come across this really negative video about, like, I want to say there was something that had happened about like a stabbing or something that had happened on public transportation, and you're like, it just causes a lot of anxiety to just see like what's happening around the world. Like, you do get those news things on your Instagram, and it'll just pop up after seeing all these positive videos, and it really does cause a lot of anxiety.
And you know what? Of the 10 videos that you watched, which is the one that you remember?
Yeah.
That
unfortunately, it's not the meme.
Yeah.
It's not the meme or some stupid jingle. It's the fact that, you saw that and now it's made you anxious because there's nothing. You can't control anything that's happening. What?
Nothing.
Did I stutter too much?
I was having a little hard time.
I've talked too much this episode. That's my brain's way of telling me.
Talking's not a bad thing. Like we've just talked about, making those connections, talking to people, having
talking is good, and making connections will help ease you into being able to more easily being able to make those connections. Does that make sense at all?
Say it again?
Yes.
The more connections you make, the easier it gets to make more connections.
Oh, yes.
Okay, that makes sense.
Well, I'm not gonna lie, I completely zoned out. And so then when you asked,
that's my job.
Yeah. I'm like a child. My attention span only lasts so long.
Yeah, and you know why?
Why?
Because you're addicted to the TikToks.
Dang phone.
The dang phones. And if you don't get that instant gratification, you're not satisfied, and so therefore you're zoned out and you don't focus, and that's why kids struggle in school these days, because they don't have the little video with the Subway Surfer on the top doing the thing, and you don't learn anything.
Yeah. Well, I actually
totally off topic.
Part of why I started zoning out was because I had said, I was like, oh, I was talking too much. That was my brain's way of telling me to shush. And then I started thinking about how anxious I get. I get incredibly anxious over the fact that I talk too much. And and like I constantly worry in every conversation I leave and I go, oh my gosh, did I just like talk way too much? Did I just overshare? Did I even give that person a chance to like breathe? Like what in the world? I'm incredibly anxious about that. You can ask Andrew.
I feel like now that you bring up zoning out, that's a really good indication of anxiety, I feel like, as well, because I start zoning out when I think about, like I said, overthinking and thinking about interactions with people. I start zoning out and I start worrying about all these other things. And
that's that isolation that you're putting on yourself. You're not good enough, or even in these social moments, one negative joke hits you a little too hard, and then it's just like you just shut down. And that's just, it's not fun.
No, it's not.
We are getting close to out of time. So, couple things. First, I wanted to say anxiety is not a sin at all. Like, majority of people, like we've said, statistically deal with it. But Aubrey, we want to ask you, what are ways that you can recognize anxiety in other people, or that, we can recognize anxiety in other people? And then what are ways for you as the anxious person to get help or to get better?
So recognizing it, I feel like you could just be like a fidgety person, but I notice when I get really anxious, you'll see me zoning out or starting to like fidget. Like if I have my rings on, like I'm messing with my rings a lot. I'm like tapping on the table and whatnot. I feel like that's a good way to tell like if I'm anxious or like I said, the zoning out and the fidgeting. Also, I find when I'm super anxious about something or overthinking, like you said, I isolate and I avoid people because like it's like, oh, they don't like me, they don't want to talk to me, and I'm scared to talk to them. So that like isolation and seeing people like being avoidant, is I feel like definitely is an indication. Of maybe not even anxiety, but just something's off. And as the anxious person, I sometimes do find it hard or difficult to get help because of, like I said, the fear of judgment or fear of abandonment. I'm scared that I'm going to talk to somebody about this and they're going to look at me like I'm crazy. So it's definitely hard, but like we've been talking about those connections. My best friend actually, I met through Cowboy Catholics. I met at the freshman retreat and I talked to her about everything and she's helped me so much. So really finding, maybe if you're too scared to go to like a professional, finding that like person, like I said, can literally be your age, or if you're scared to talk to your parents about it, or your guardians or your grandparents or aunts, uncles, friends, and all that stuff, sisters. Finding that just one person that maybe can also just relate to you, does really, really help. Like, I don't know if she's experienced as much anxiety as I have, but she definitely has helped me a lot in not only figuring out the next steps I need to take to deal with it, but also bringing me to God and telling me to go to God about it, which has definitely helped me a lot. And I do thank her so much for all that she's done for me, because like I said, I'd had no group of friends before.
Yeah.
And I actually I get anxious signing up for retreats and stuff. And that link was sent out and I signed up and I was like, can't believe I just did that. But through that, I met my best friend who I can rely on for when I get anxious about different things.
Yeah.
So yes, that's a great way to, if you're, like I said, if you're scared to reach out to a professional and get professional help, is definitely finding that. Also, I've been told that another great way to deal with this is finding like a spiritual director, like talking to a priest or a religious sister really does help. And not only does it help you with like the anxiety, but it helps you bring it up to God.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Any final thoughts from you? There's a lot that can be said on anxiety, I feel
Yeah.
like a lot more. But we just don't have the time for that right now.
No, we could sit here for hours and hours and hours.
Maybe a few episodes down the line we could have you back. I don't know. What are you thinking? Like,
yeah, I don't know.
And this is episode 45. Like,
I was thinking maybe like episode number 67 would be great to have you back.
Yeah, I think that'd be perfect.
I think we're skipping that one. I think no. No, I'm kidding.
Well, in any case, Aubrey.
Do you even think we'll get to 67?
Yeah, why not?
If you're at 45.
Yeah.
Anyways, Aubrey, can you say that?
Yes, Aubrey. I don't know who Audrey is, but I'm sorry. Like, I'm going to think about it for the rest of the day. I'm going to be so anxious about it.
Don't be anxious.
Have no anxieties about anything.
If you do, we've established ways to overcome that anxiety.
Yeah.
And you know what else? Cecilia and I and Aubrey are all here at the Newman Center for anyone else who's around if you need someone to chat with or to talk to.
And I'm always here. Like, honestly, open to close if I don't have classes.
It's a great place to be.
It is the best for a college student. Yeah. So, anyways, thank you. for joining us.
Yes.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you
Has
for
been a
having
pleasure.
me.
Would you like to close us out in a prayer?
Of course, I would love to.
Thank you.
In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. God, I thank you for this beautiful day and this amazing opportunity for me to be on this podcast with Cecilia and Andrew to talk about anxiety and to help others who are maybe dealing with anxiety. And I pray for all those who are dealing with anxiety that they may grow and may come to you, Lord. I thank you and I pray all this in your name. Amen.
Amen.